Oh my goodness. Happy new moon. Happy equinox. Happy cosmic day. Happy birthing of the new us, the birthing of the new humanity. And so I'm super, absolutely, incredibly delighted and so happy and honored to be here with you as always. And I have a lot of, let's call it cosmic news. And it doesn't mean that that's the only thing that has really happened, but that's the only things that I got to witness myself in person, out of body travel. And so I always think about it, like when I transmit, it's always a transmission. It's not like, oh, let me tell you a story. It's actually going into these higher realms and then bringing the energies down and sharing. And so it's very activating. And I know that we are all changing, and I'll explain how this all works. And again, a lot has happened. A lot has happened. We could not be in a better place. So I want to say, wow, all the work you have done and all that you do and all that you are, all the work that everyone who is doing the work is doing the work to be able to actually, completely change human, let's call it history, but also the trajectory. And so things have changed. So I'm going to start a little bit. I always try to find some images and tell the stories again sometimes, but I'm going to start with 2023. In cosmic terms, there is no year 2023. It's a human construct, but it's okay. We work within the human construct. And so let's call it a cosmic year, because there is such thing as a cosmic year. And so I'm not going to be looking at the chat, but please, for those of you who monitor the chat, be so kind and respond if you can. I'm going to go within, because that's where I find all these answers. And so thank you so much for everyone helping each other. And so I'll start with this cosmic year. Is there such thing as a cosmic year? Yes. And then we have the solar year, we have the galactic year, we have the universal year, and we have the cosmic year. And so all of these are very big cycles, really designed by Divine Mother. If anyone is the designer of cosmic realities, it is Divine Mother. So as you know, I got to meet Divine Mother in 2017, and ever since then, it's just been an incredible expansion of understanding of things. And really, I try not to read, if possible, at all, because Divine Mother brings knowledge that is applicable to this now. And sometimes it's really hard because, I understand that we had so many great teachings that were given to humanity before 2012. But to me, things really changed in 2012. So again, not many people actually felt much, but in the ethers, what happened is that so many worlds that we are part of, so many planets, so many stars, so many suns were actually uplifted in 2012 on the solstice. And it was a very massive event that took place in divine reality. And, humans don't usually see divine reality, because we seem to be like a planet, just alone, nobody around, but that is not the truth. There is a portal that separates us usually from the divine reality, and you can actually call it a stargate even. And so our ancients, they were able to go through the stargate and they were able to see divine reality. And so this divine reality shows us actually the truth of creation, which is so much bigger than anyone can imagine unless they've seen it, of course. And so in 2012, everything changed. And that's why I always wonder, how applicable are things that were given to humanity, before then? And so I listen to Divine Mother, and sometimes I just have to surrender, as she always says, because, it requires trust that you are being guided always upwards and upwards, and that you don't have to go back to some ancient teachings that might no longer work, because things really, really changed. And so you and me, we came here for this really last lifetime where humans have been trapped by this constant recycling of coming back to the same problems and not actually evolving. And so this is a new you right now, right here. What has changed? So again, I'm going to fast forward to what has changed. So number one, 2012, a huge breakthrough, upliftment of all life within these worlds that we belong to. It was a huge cosmic event. It was an evolution of cosmic DNA. It was the evolution of life force. It was an amazing spiral that went up through cosmos, and we were part of it. All worlds got lifted up together, and then all beings in the worlds got lifted up together. So, I always gain new knowledge and new understanding. So some things that I knew then now have expanded into more. And so in this lifetime, I always thought, I have to meditate so that I can achieve some kind of, state of consciousness. But things changed again. Of course they did. In 2019, huge change, unbelievable change. Our cells started to change. And what started to happen is that the divine being that was not available to us so easily at all for millennia started to actually be downloaded into us and preparing us for a huge shift. And I'm going to show you some pictures about this. And so then I was given this information. I was taken into a UFO at Mount Shasta. I know it sounds science fiction, and I think most of the stories I tell, they sound pretty science fiction, but I know that our multidimensional reality is so fun. It's so science fiction. And I do believe a lot of the science fiction we have in this world is actually inspired by divine truth. And so the science fiction is very big. And so as I was taken into this craft, it is happening to a lot of us actually. And we are being activated. This is like a new information that runs through us, and we are giving an activation when we get on the spaceship. And it really is a light activation. And so it's our soul families of the light that come to remind us of who we truly are and what needs to be done on planet Earth, because they want success. So this was really, I was taken onto the ship in 2020. And it was on spring equinox out of all the times, actually. So, a few years ago on this date. And so they reminded me of something I really didn't fully comprehend until now, and now I do. And that was that it's not about us, that it's not about the little individual reaching enlightenment, that no longer is the story, that now the story is it's about the earth. And so that changed me. When I got out of the ship, I was let out, and it was in this beautiful field, really at the bottom of Mount Shasta. And I just fell on my knees and I kissed the earth and I said, okay, I now remember. But it was not like that they, had to like remind me verbally. They put me inside this amazing technology where they run light through you. They were running green, kind of amazing crystalline light through my being. And that awakened my remembrance. And so, that can happen. I just heard someone saying this is happening to so many of us, and it's okay. We'll surrender. But if that's too much for you, it's okay. Just let it be. I just want to share how it really happened. And so they gave me this remembrance of it's about the earth. The earth is ascending. And kind of, it was like, forget your own little self. This is about a big project. It's not even about humanity as such. It is a planetary ascension. And so then I was assigned all these projects, and every day it was like new projects. And so today, just by the way, this will be more sharing and maybe a little meditation, but the rest of our lunar cycle will be always half. So half sharing, half meditation, unless something changes. But usually we try to meditate for half an hour. But today I just have so much knowledge that I received in the last few weeks, really, that I haven't shared yet fully. And it's all important because it's for all of us. So it's so for all of us that it's beyond our imagination. And so I understood in 2020, okay, mission on. And so fast forward, we have done a lot of work. We have helped the earth to be more harmonic. And it's all about becoming harmonic within and then harmonic with each other. So you can think of it as the earth having so many conflicts upon her. So she was a planet of conflict. And you can tell, we all had internal conflicts, didn't we? I think all of us experienced at some point and maybe still experience internal conflict. And then we had conflicts within families, sometimes even. We had conflicts in partnerships, relationships, conflict with each other, conflict within nations, conflict within states, who knows what. But would you agree there was a lot of conflict on this planet? So this conflict was not allowing really the Godhead to fully enter this world. And, I was speaking to the eye of God, where you travel out of body and you go to the eye of God and you have kind of audition. Is it like audition? I don't know if audition is the good word, but, you can go and represent humanity for a moment and you get some messages and come back and you go like, oh no, we are not ready. We are not in harmony. And so again, the goal was assigned to us to become as harmonious as possible inside, which is personal growth, which is the meditation, which is the chanting, and so on and so on. And then this harmony would affect everything around us, of course. And we could even go out and we could actually even help others when they are ready to become into more and more harmony. And eventually we would start resonating with each other in higher consciousness. And it would be enough if enough of us resonated in this consciousness of what we can only call love. And so again, the eye of God said, oh, your world is not ready. And I thought, okay, so what are we going to do? And so we started to do these events, where we connect online and we have wonderful, wonderful beings like you come together in so much harmony and so much love. And I know exactly that Divine Mother calls every single one of us to these events. She talked to me about it. She always says, it's not about like promoting anything. And that's why all these events are for free. Because imagine if suddenly I was charging and I had to come up with things to charge for just so that I can make money. And so Divine Mother was like, everything's going to be for free. All these teaching events will be because, I'm only teaching what I was given. So I got it freely. You're going to get it freely. And that was the whole point, that it's going to be very different energy because this energy has no strings attached. You come here whenever you feel like it. You leave whenever you feel like it. There is nothing, no strings attached. It's complete freedom. And that actually makes a very big difference energetically. It was actually one of the most important things, to make this free, because then she comes freely. I don't know if anyone ever wanted to attach price on Divine Mother's knowledge, but if they did, surely she stopped giving it because that's not how she operates, She is the ultimate giver after all. And her new world already exists, and I'll talk about it too. So we have so much to cover today. It's all very, very exciting. The new, I'll try to kind of organize it. I haven't spoken about it. I always try to share with my husband, he's overloaded already. And so I'm organizing it in my mind. And so it was in January. I like to know the dates when this happened, just so I have some kind of storyline to tell. On January 8th, humanity went through a major activation. These usually happen in the middle of the night. Some people remember, some people don't remember, but these activations change us physically. That's the one thing that's changing, the physical alignment with the heavens, the physical alignment with the earth. The body is becoming once again a sacred tool. Yes, this year. And so 2023 again, whoever knows what year it really is. But we went through such a major change that now we are receivers of cosmic consciousness in a whole new way. The body now, as you can imagine, you wouldn't be here without the body. Everywhere you exist, you take on some kind of body. And if you don't, you are just energy, you are just consciousness, but we do like to take on a form. And so the form allows us to have experiences. And so Divine Mother takes on forms, but she really is a creation energy that is so unbelievably multifaceted. She can take on any form she wants. But again, the form is sometimes confusing. So you and me, we are really consciousness in a form, which is really useful. How else could we experience anything, without actually being individualized? And so we are individualized here. And so our body is individualized in a whole new way, right? We are super unbelievably physical. And so what yoga taught us before, thousands of years before, this is the yoga. This is how actually we naturally are being aligned by our divine self to open up to higher consciousness. And so now that's why I say maybe the teachings that we had before 2012 are no longer so applicable. But again, you will know whatever works for you or not. But I just want to say our divine self, our I am presence, has been changing our physicality as well. Our physicality has been opened up to a whole new level of receptivity. Imagine we are receivers. Every single one of us is receiving cosmic consciousness in every moment, but it requires certain alignment. In the past, this alignment was all the yogic positions, all the breathing techniques, all the stuff we had to do to unlock ourselves. And now our divine self has been unlocking us since October 2019. since October 2019, the biggest changes have happened on the physical level. We are absolutely changing physically. And this physical change is allowing us to once again receive the fullness of cosmic consciousness, and then a universal consciousness, and then galactic consciousness, nothing to do with the beings, but the galactic light, right? We work with light. We are beings who receive the light. And so like flowers, when they receive light, they thrive. Trees receive light, they thrive. And we are becoming beings who thrive. Our consciousness is changing because of all the receptivity of light that's coming in. And so this was on January 8th, huge change, you know. And so little later, how it all goes, a few days later, you know, I had a meeting with Ein Sof. Ein Sof is a level of creation that vibrates. All these sounds are sounds that are audible in creation. That's why all these mantras, they actually are sounds of cosmic creation. So the real mantras, as you know, they are very different from the human made up mantras. Those are nice, but not as powerful as the cosmic ones. And so there is a level of creation that has a vibration which sounds like Ein Sof, Ein Sof. And it kind of is almost the top of the tree of life. All of creation, if you can see it, and I only share what I have seen, you know, like I will never share what I read. And if I do, I will tell you so that you know the difference. Because if I'm just repeating what already someone else has written, you know, it's not as powerful. The transmission then doesn't make me feel like I'm on fire here, but I'm on fire right now. And so Ein Sof revealed, and this was in January, uphold the creation principles on earth. Now, I never forget the words they use. They use language that we can understand and that we can share. And so I came back in January and I said, okay, we are upholding the creation principles on earth. And I was asking Ein Sof, I said, so what are those principles? And Ein Sof said, those are all to be found in the tree of life. And like I said, the tree of life is a very, very powerful, mystical geometry of creation. All of creation is geometric. All of creation is, you are geometry, I'm geometry. We are all geometric beings. Not only is our body perfect geometry, that's why the alignment, the posture, all of it matters, but also all of creation has geometry. And as above, so below, there is a big cosmic tree of life, which is cosmos. And then there's you and me, little tree of life, which is you and me, just little individualized beings of consciousness. And so the tree of life is very, very important. And we are here to constantly evolve. Everything is in evolution. Cosmos is the evolution. It's the evolution of the tree of life. Universe is a tree of life. Galaxy is a tree of life. The sun is a tree of life. The earth is the tree of life. And everything is about alignment, finding alignment and evolution, those things. And so I was asking, you know, so what principles? And I was told, yeah, you'll find them in a tree of life. But then, what happened then? So if you remember, February 5th was a full moon when we completed one of our lunar cycles. And that day, Shiva and Shakti revealed themselves. They revealed themselves in cosmos as our cosmic parents. Now, again, I cannot claim that we don't have more cosmic parents, but I got to see their dream within which you and me are their children. And again, you know, I cannot really speak about all the universes, even though I have traveled outside of our universe and I have seen other universes from the distance. But again, you know, sometimes we don't have clarity about all these things. And I don't think the human brain could comprehend it all. But all I can tell you is that for us, we do have cosmic parents. And these cosmic parents are absolutely what the mystics would say, making love. And I don't mean physically, I mean the energy emanates through all of creation and we are part of it. And we too are to be beings of that love. And we have this free will, you can say unfortunately at this moment or fortunately, and that free will allows us to participate in that dream of life, dream of love. And so originally we were designed to be in this amazing love with creation. And Divine Mother, if you remember, her original teaching was love life with all your heart. So, you know, I think the biblical language kind of twisted it a little bit. Love Lord with all your heart. But Divine Mother said, love life with all your heart. And life meaning not the little life, like this little experience here, but all of life. I love all of life with all your heart. And that is the key. And so again, you know, the journey continues. March 13th. March 13th. I'll show you this picture. I didn't find anything better than this, but so I travel out of body, doesn't always work. And I always think maybe sometimes there are nights when it is not required. Sometimes it's tiring. Sometimes I just want to sleep. Sometimes it just maybe is not the day to do it. But then when it is the day to do it, I know. And so 13th of March, this was a huge event for humanity. And again, think of, if you write your journal and maybe you document your own experiences, you might find parallels with this. Because this is not just me at all. That would be silly. It is actually very collective experiences. And on March 13th, this was a very collective experience. What you're looking at here is what I call the ambassadors. The ambassadors are beings. There are many on this planet. And like I say, I'm sure it's you and you and you and you. Always think of yourself as one of that too, you know, because that's really important to feel the oneness with this project. This is a big project we are participating in. And so I'd like to include everyone and empower everyone to know that that is you. And I cannot really recognize everyone. I recognize those that I know, and I recognize, you know, energy of people when I'm up there, and it is up there. And so on March 13th was a meeting of all the ambassadors on planet Earth. Those are beings, many, who travel through dimensions into higher dimensions, and they have different meeting rooms, and it's really science fiction once again. And so you would say that you are in different meeting rooms in a way, because, you know, it's space. And so you get together and you receive assignments from the Godhead. You receive assignments from the guardians of planetary evolution, that there are many. And each group, which is again many of us in each group, receive different assignments, but it's the same project, planetary ascension. And so, for example, you know, just so that you know, everyone who works with Patricia Cota Robles, there are different classes of these groups, and it doesn't mean that one is better and one is worse, but there's definitely a first class, and that first class, you will always find Patricia Cota Robles in the first class. And I compare it to like a spaceship with different classes, you know, like first class, second class, third class. So Patricia, you know, and I'm sure she would never tell us because, you know, that's just how she operates, right? So Patricia is always in the first class, and we are receiving assignments. And so, as you know, Patricia would have all the assignments, and then we come back to Earth and we fulfill them. And so March 13th, the assignment for one of these groups that I was part of was that humanity must remember the underlying oneness of all life. Now, again, I always just repeat the words that they are giving to us. Sometimes we even get it kind of like almost printed. It's almost like written on you know, on a scroll or something, and you can read it, and then everybody's studying it. And when we study it together in these higher realms, when we come back, we are changed. And of course, it changes you, and no longer as just words. Because now you went to meet with the Godhead, you got to meet with other ambassadors, and now everyone comes back pumped up with this new mission. And I knew that Patricia would make a video about this in her own words, in her own way, which is always so, you know, completely selfless. And that is the new video which she just made. So the one she published yesterday, that video has this information. And you know how funny it is? I don't know, sometimes my husband joins these calls, so I don't know if he's on a call, but I just want to say, I was playing Patricia again and again this morning, you know, while making breakfast, and my husband said, it all sounds the same all the time. And I said, no, it is not the same. This is the new assignment. Recognize the novelty in this. This is not repeating old words. This is different. And so this is different, my dear sisters and brothers. This is now the mission for every single one of us who feels called to fulfill it. Because how do you know? If you don't remember out-of-body travel, for example, how do you know it's not you who received the same assignment, you know? Because I know sometimes people don't remember. And so I say, you know, whatever it is, why not to work with this? It's a big one. So all I can tell you, this is huge, absolutely huge. All these ambassadors, you know, I don't know what the other groups received as their missions, but I know what our group received, you know, under the leadership of Patricia. And that is exactly in her video now. I just have these words like this. And that is the underlying oneness of all life must be reflected in our consciousness when we think, when we look at the world, when we look at the other, when we speak, when we feel, when we act, we first must feel within the underlying oneness of all life. And so, you know, Uncle Jesus, he's a very cool guy in higher dimensions. He comes to all of us, really. And again, his words to me were twisted a little bit or maybe misunderstood a little bit. Because, you know, I think then the Bible says, love thy neighbor as you love yourself, or something like that. But actually what was explained to us is different. And I don't know if this like will make sense and if it really will sound this way. There is only one self. There is no other. And when you see another one in front of you, you know, I know all the teachings try to explain this. And to me, I didn't fully see it until I saw it. And I was, again, you know, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, I need to explain this to you. Look what happened. I was out of body and this is what's happening. And my mom says, well, it's nothing new. You know, we are all one. And I was like, yeah, but do we speak like that? Do we not judge? Do we not look at the other and feel like, oh, that's a horrible person, for example, you know? Does it happen to us? But when we fully see the underlying oneness of all life, then you are always looking at yourself. That is always yourself in front of you. And not even brothers and sisters. It gets bigger than that. That is you looking at you. But maybe that one individualized you might be very unconscious. And so what do you do as the one who already is awakened to oneness? You do all that you can to be always the nicest you can be to all life without ever being triggered. When we get triggered, it means I don't understand that is just another me, and not just another me, that is actually you. And so when I was able to see this, you know, it's life-changing. Now when I go to a store, it's like meeting just yourself everywhere you go. When you speak to someone, you actually, it's mind twisting. Now it is you talking to yourself, no matter who that is. It's always just you. So this was revealed to us on March 13th. Now, this is an exciting time for me, March, because so much happened. So I'll tell all the stories if you don't mind today. It's the Ascension update because it's nice to get it like firsthand, unless you also are experiencing it also. But if you are experiencing all of this, I'm sure that you are resonating because this is happening to us collectively. And so just so that you know, I'm completely just burning here. I know when the energy is moving. So yes, let's bring it on. So if you ever had an encounter with a divine being where they come to you and they come in the physical, and when I say in the physical, it means they stand in front of you, and it's almost like Jesus after he was resurrected when he says, do not touch me, I am not of this world, something like that, right? But that means you can still see them. They can still talk to you. They can still touch you. You can absolutely see their form. So that is to me etheric manifestation of a being. And so that's my experience. All the beings I ever met in my life, you know, you walk next to them, you sit next to them, they speak to you, but they are of more non-physical, etheric nature. You see them with your eyes open. They sit on the bed with you if they want to. They give you information. They spell things out for you. So that's how real they are. And yet they are of etheric nature. So if you touch them, you would be touching etheric light. But something unbelievable happened. And I know many of you will relate to this too. So the great Sri Kaleshwar, he visited me twice etherically. He would appear in the bedroom, he would do all these cool things, and I received some activation. And again, it happens to all of us. All these beings work through all of us, and whoever is ready receives these, and so you and me, we are all ready. And so, I started really opening up to whatever he was teaching. And I also worked with Elks, as many of you have worked with Elks. Elks lived with Sri Kaleshwar in India, so she has so much first-hand information. She has all the mantras, and so it's been a really great work being able to get all the mantras and doing all the stuff which he shared before 2012. Think about it. He himself left in 2012. So I thought it's pretty unbelievable. And yes, he comes to humanity, he's a humanity teacher. There are many different stories. Some of them I'm allowed to share, some of them I'm not allowed to share, but I just want to say this guy is bigger than what we can imagine. And so to me, it's a continuation, very, very big continuation of Yogananda's energy. It's a very big continuation of everything that really Divine Mother has been sharing with us. So this is a funny story, but I do have a meditation room. I have bed here where the dogs sleep on the bed. So when I'm doing my meditations, they can be on the bed. And so one of my dogs had a dental surgery on March 15th. And so I thought, okay, I should sleep with him, in the meditation room. And I thought, this is going to be very cool sleeping in a meditation room because, I meditate here so much. And so I thought, what will happen in a meditation room tonight? And if any of you celebrated, so Sri Kaleshwar left his body, I think it was May 15th, 2012. So it's celebrated as his Mahasamadhi. And so a lot of us were chanting, a lot of us met online, and we were doing March 15th, sorry, thank you, March 15th, thank you. That's exactly when it was. And so we were doing a lot of work all day long. Hang on, I have to mute someone. Okay, sorry about that. And so on March 15th, it was, I don't know how many people around the world do it, hundreds, thousands, I don't know. And so, you have online events and you do your chanting and you have your process and you're focusing on him. And so I'm doing that. And when you sleep with your dog, sometimes it's not a very peaceful sleep. And so I was awake. And so I was just thinking, I'll be chanting and I'll be doing stuff. And as I'm chanting and doing stuff, suddenly there's a breakthrough event. And I see Kaleshwar resurrecting. And I mean resurrecting. He was resurrecting back in India where he is in his Mahasamadhi, and he actually raised what you would say from the dead, and he actually raised in his physical body. Now to me this was mind-boggling, because usually you would think they come in their light body, but actually he came out in his physical body with his flesh and bones and skin, clothes, all of it. And then he went around the world and he was transmitting love to everyone. And I cannot say everyone, I just want to say he was transmitting love. And so to maybe all who are ready, a little bit of consciousness, when you pour a little bit of divine energy on top of it, then it grows and it grows. And so why not all of us with a little bit of consciousness, we can grow into a lot of consciousness. But then he came into my meditation room. And he came in his physical body, and that was the most mind-boggling experience of my life, as many of them are. He came in his skin and bone and clothes. He was wearing white kind of t-shirt, and I could touch his skin. I touched his skin. I could smell his unique scent. After being dead, since 2012, it was a unique scent. And he sat down on my meditation, the bed that I have here. And he hugged me. And to be hugged physically by a saint like him. So what did it do? The hug was, we have the hugging saints. This was a hug that activated life force. It awakened Kundalini, this life force within us. It awakened a whole amazing level of consciousness. So, okay, I ran to my husband and I told him what just happened. The hugging saint, he came. But of course, it has to be life-changing, right? When you receive this transmission, it opens you up, it opens you up, it opens you up. These amazing beings, they are really cosmic beings, they are the rishis, they see your future, they see where you're going, they see exactly what's going to happen in your life and all the different timelines you have, and if you're going to go a certain way or not, if you're going to fulfill the path or not. You know, Yogananda was able to see this for all his students, and there's always like the possibility that the free will not be the great will, but we want to have free will that is the great will. And so what happened next was unbelievable. And so, okay, let me take you to this. So this was a few days after this. It was 3 days after that I was asked to come out of body. And so I have a process that I always teach, and again, I'm happy and willing to teach it again and again and again for free for everyone, because obviously we get to understand a little bit more of who we are. So I always look for like something that can actually represent who we are once I see it, because once I see it, I recognize it. And so I wanted to show a little bit of who we are. So we are coming back fully and completely into the sacred 12, which is the 12 aspects of divinity, and it is the 12 colors. But the thing is, it's also 12 tones, you know, music and color, it's all, you know, part of our creation. And so again, if I remember, I'll put the picture then in the email. So I created this picture when my divine self was explaining to me how it all works, you know, with the heart in the center. And then another way to see it, and this is something where you and me have been activating this so much, we go beyond the chakras, we try to be more in the unified field, and these days we just want to go to the divine self. You see, the divine self is the highest aspect of you. And so here it's called different names. They call it the divine gateway. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's the I am presence, it's the divine self, it's the divine gateway. It's all about alignment. To me, like what I'm teaching here today, and I don't want to say teaching, but what I'm sharing here today is like the highest possible truth that is coming through humanity right now, you know, and this is the breakthrough moment. This is the self-realization. Who are we? How are we designed? Why do we do what we do? And so you see, it doesn't really, you know, I bought this on Etsy because it's good. It shows you that the divine self is your highest self. And so now we don't want to go to the higher self. We don't even want to go to the soul self anymore, not even the spirit self. We want to go to the highest of the highest of the highest, and that is the divine self. So my recommendation for everyone is now fully reconnect. And that's something, you know, when we do our one-on-one sessions, this is the new thing. We just reconnect. I call it the reconnection. So we are reconnecting fully. And what is it that we are reconnecting to? Well, you see, we are creating an alignment. We go through our actually multi-dimensional spine. This is the Kriya that Yogananda taught, taken to the next level, really, because now it is taking us all the way to the divine self. And we go through our, as you can see here, spirit body. We go through the soul body. We also go through the galaxy, because the galaxy also has a center, and we connect through all the centers. So think about it. Our alignment of our geometry allows us to have alignment with so many centers that we call suns. And so we go first to our own sun. From that sun, we go to the galactic sun. From that sun, we go to the universal sun. From that sun, we go to the cosmic sun. And if we can align, if we can become liberated once again, we get to see and know all that we are. And this is the work that we will be doing here now, because that's our wholeness. That is our fullness. That is our original design coming back since 2019, bigger and bigger and bigger. And some of you already have experienced all of this. So this is nothing new to you, because we do have pioneers who already have done this, you know, and they already are fully activated. And then some of us are still, you know, working on it. And is it work? Well, it's alignment. And so I was pulled out of body to be able to see all of this, you know, because when you travel out of body the way that I do, I don't travel around planet Earth to see some, you know, nice landscapes and visit people. I go to higher dimensions to actually be able to bring this knowledge back. And so again, we have all different missions and different purposes, and we are all fulfilling whatever we were assigned to fulfill. So I'm going. Hopefully this is all useful and interesting, because to me this is life-changing. I feel like after this march, and it's not even over, nothing is the same. Everything has changed. The revelations are so big, and oh my gosh, can we now live differently? And so it's all about living differently, because what has worked before hasn't really worked for everyone. But this needs to work for everyone, and I'll tell you why. So number one, remember that we were taught to always honor the underlying oneness of all life and see that oneness in all. And even if they are unconscious, again, teachings of Uncle Jesus, love thy fellow as yourself, which doesn't mean that the way that you love yourself, you should love the other. No, it means that that other self is you. Love thy fellow as yourself. That is yourself. Once again, huge. So today is March 21st. So on March 18th, I was actually pulled out of body. Like there was no resisting. It was like, you have to get out now. You have to come and see this. And so I got out. And so I get out as my like super conscious self, you know, because the thing is that I don't know how other people do it, but I heard about people who just go and travel and see what their relatives are doing, sometimes spying on people. That would never cross my mind. But so the super conscious self would never do that. And it is possible that there are other ways to do it, but I always go to higher dimensions for knowledge and missions and something that is useful to humankind. And so this time I was able to visit many realities. All I can tell you, it was like hopping through strings on a musical instrument, and each reality was humanity. You would say these are parallel realities. So you go from high to low, from low to high, and somewhere in between. Now, this has never happened to me before like this. And again, it will be useful for all of us, because if you imagine, so I started, I would say, level 2, and that seemed to be this reality we are in. We have war, we have crime, we have violations against, you know, humanity, and so on and so on. It felt like, unfortunately, there was only one lower level below us. And I was curious, because you, as a high being of high consciousness, can go to any lower level or any higher level that you match. We can never go to a higher level when we are not built just yet that way. But you can go as low as you want and as high as you are able to. So if that makes sense, I believe this is how the avatars are able to come down to this level 2. Because they say, you know what, this is going to be tough, but I'll go. I'll teach about oneness, but man, humanity will not be ready. But I'll do my best. And so we can get avatars from very, very high levels coming down. They don't have to lower themselves. They stay at their high vibration. And then they teach all that they have. They transmit all they have. But again, usually they don't make a big difference. They make a difference, but never big enough for humanity to really get it. And so that's how it works. So I was able to visit every single string, high and down. And as I said, down was only one level down. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm ashamed. I can't believe that humanity is still so low in vibration. But the thing is, let me give you the good news. So every string was humanity. Every string was parallel humanity. So I went all the way as high as I could go, and that was amazing. You would call it the new earth. And I would say all of these parallel realities exist here and now, but we don't get to see them and experience them, because that would be so confusing, unless we attune our attention to their higher reality and then shift. Just like in, Carlos Castañeda's story, shift the assemblage point. And again, that's not what I wanted to talk about, but I just wanted to say there are parallel realities for humanity. So I went all the way up. I wanted to see what's all the way up. And I was so surprised to see it's all us, humanity, in the highest state of love with each other. Every single one of us knows each other there. There is undeniable oneness of all life. Everyone recognizes each other because we recognize the love within us as thyself. Everyone you have ever known is there. Everyone that you ever had a relationship with where maybe you broke up is there in love with you. Every family member, but also every stranger is there knowing each other. And always, I call it the hugs and kisses reality. It's always hugs and kisses. And I don't mean anything intimate, nothing sexual, because it's very love-based. This is true love. I don't know if people call it agape love, but that is where everyone is just simply connected. Now, this was beautiful. So I got a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses from people I haven't seen for a long time. But the thing is, what struck me is the collective soul of humanity at that level. I got to meet and see and feel and understand the collective soul. The collective soul at that level is truly one being. There is one collective consciousness and everyone is in it. And oh my goodness, it was the same humans as at the lower level, at the lower. And here, so you got to see these parallel options for us. And we all are in it. Now it gets better. Oh my gosh. So I am at the highest level. We're having this huge celebration. Everyone is one. Everybody just loves and knows each other. And I tried to describe it as best friends, but then I was like, no, this is one family. No countries, no borders, no really at all like separation, no judgment. Everyone's so happy and in love with all. No like specific, this is my family. It's all just one family. And so I was like really, enjoying this collectiveness. And then I realized as that we make decisions together. So I'm in this higher realm and I'm realizing we make decisions together. And not that we have to sit down together because, maybe it's 8 billion of us there. We don't sit down together and make a decision. We internally all make a decision together as one. So I thought, wow, we made a beautiful decision to be a very loving collective up there. And so I go a little down. And every time I went down what you would call a string, because I could clearly feel the difference. That was like you would call it a membrane that separates these vibrations, and it is all vibrational. And it seemed to me just like I'm moving through colors. And I was like blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the 12, majestic 12. Every sound, every vibration creates color. And then it struck me when we talk about, you are indigo, you are rainbow, and you are crystal. We are just saying these beings come from different vibrational realities. They bring the color with them. And so I thought, oh my goodness, that's how it is. It is majestic 12, the 12 aspects of divinity, the 12 tones of creation, and they are not the same. And yet, you can move along. Unbelievable. And so think about it. We had a lot of beautiful beings who embodied here, in the 70s and 80s, and we call them the indigos. And the thing is that they simply came from a vibrational reality where there is more love. And then finally we got the rainbows. Look at the rainbows. It's the 12. It's the top, the opal, the highest oneness. And that is what we are becoming now. And again, they are just bringing colors and tones. It's all about colors and tones. So I'm traveling down the scale. All these parallel realities. Yeah, that's a great question. Is it all the same dimension? So I have traveled through dimensions as well. But let's just say that Patricia says that these 12 colors, these 12 options, the 12 tones are actually all fifth dimensional. I actually cannot speak about really the details of it. I just saw it like this. And so I'm puzzled, and I'm asking every day, please reveal more. I want to understand this. I want to know, how do you get there? What happens when you go up? Do you come back? What happens if you stay there? Do you still exist here? Let's see. So I'm traveling down. So let's say I'm going from E to A. And in A, you will find a little bit more disconnect, just a little bit more. The oneness that you find in the highest reality is slightly diminished. It's not as perfect as it is in the highest. But guess what? Same humanity, same characters, same people, and yet a little bit out of tune with each other, just a little bit, slight imperfection. And then I realized the next thing, which is the same thing as I realized in the highest reality. They still have one collective soul, and they are still internally making decisions together, whether they know it or not. And so in the second highest reality, they were almost 100% conscious of their decision making. But then, I travel down, 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 and you get to the second lowest, which was the reality here right now. And I see, all that's happening in this world. And I go, I wonder, are we also making these decisions together? And guess what? We are, but super unconsciously. We do have a collective soul, same thing as we do in these higher realities. We are the same characters, you and me, in a parallel reality. And we are here it's very mixed and match reality, right? Some super unconscious, some super conscious, very many awakening. But what is really awakening is our belonging to the same underlying oneness of all life here. And this was it. I was like, how are we making these decisions together? I want to make good decisions. Surely you want to make good decisions. But there are so many not making good decisions. And yet there is only one collective soul, one collective, one consciousness, really. And together, internally, we are always making a decision together. So how does that change anything for you or me? Does it change anything? Do we have like aha moment? What if enough of us start making really good collective decisions internally by the way we see each other, by the way we treat each other together? That's right. What if now when you go to a store to get your groceries, you look around through different lenses? What if someone is, really unconscious, and just like Uncle Jesus said, if someone slaps you, I think that's what he said, give them your other cheek. And I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying if someone slaps you, see it for what it really is. It is a brother who actually, or sister, who even is not brother and sister. It is really one being split in many. And that particle of life that is in front of you being unconscious is just another you not knowing. And how does the story of Uncle Jesus go when he was crucified? If he was crucified, please forgive them, for they do not know. So as long as we don't know, we don't know. Isn't that crazy? Yes. And so let me tell you, I decided to go down to the no, I don't want to call it dimension. I decided to go to the reality below us. I'm not visiting there again, by the way. Those guys, yeah. Take humanity as we have it right now. Imagine World War II in every corner of the world. Imagine concentration camps all across the world and no one at peace. Everyone in some kind of horrible situation. Everyone either suffering or causing suffering. And that was pretty much it. When I visited there, I thought, I'm leaving immediately. Yeah, it was the underworld for sure. But the thing was, and I shared it in a recent video that I posted on YouTube. Sometimes I have to make these videos quickly because I'm trying to fully, record whatever happened. So as I went to the underworld, which it really is, funny enough, they were not speaking the language that we speak here. Most of us speak English, for example, and we know the languages, but there was a different collective language that they were speaking. Very interesting, by the way. So you can imagine concentration camp everywhere. Like everyone's it's like a massive abuse of all life. And I thought, well, I want to get out immediately because they saw me, right? Once you get in, they can see you become part of it. And you're like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. And so my being started to chant. My being, which is the super conscious me, knew what to do and said, calm down. This is not real. None of it is real. And I was like, what do you mean none of this is real? None of it, what you have just visited, is really real. It's not the truth of our being. We are eternal beings in love. And yet we have all these parallel experiences. We are making experiences, but none of that can really harm you. Nothing can really harm you. And so become detached from it all. Don't care too much for this or that. Don't judge this as bad and that as good. Just be very kind. Just be so nice to everyone. Just bow to everyone. See the light in them. Be very quiet. Just put your hands together in the prayer position like a Chinese old master, I imagine, and just bow in your silence. When someone has many opinions about, judgments and stuff and all that and this and that, just bow. Just be so nice. And I thought, wow. We've seen, right? Do you guys see the visual in your head? The like old Chinese master just bowing to everyone, just, total silence, nothing happening, nothing really matters, just, yeah, okay. Because that's what it was. That's what it was. That kind of state of attitude. The Tao Te Ching manifested. And so my superconscious being started chanting. And she started chanting. And as I was chanting, I disappeared from the underworld. I completely just went through what I call the membranes between the dimensions, between the realities. And I ended up in a higher and higher. And I was able to go up again. And then I was like, well, I'm going to focus back to where I am right now, which is here. But I'll share this because this might be really interesting to all of us, that on some level, we already are enlightened. We already are in the top enlightened reality. But on some level, we are still resolving collective stuff here. And so now is the time to be all love. I cannot 100% tell you we are in the second or third, but to me, I only went up to many, and then the one below was already hellish. I don't know. It didn't seem like there's anything else beyond hell. I probably didn't want to go. But yeah, I realized for me as I traveled that I'm coming back to level 2. But it's okay. I was like, okay, it's not an impossible task. And what is the task that we have here? This is going to be the task we will have for the next, I'm almost done, by the way. So this is going to be our task. Our task will be to every day go into the highest possible vibration as if music was the vibration. We are musical beings. And so think of yourself when you wake up. How do you get yourself in the highest musical tone, which is your most beautiful light, which is you as the rainbow? Yay! You as the rainbow is the key. Embody all the 12 aspects. Go into the opal, the opal rainbow light. Activate your rainbow body. After all, it's about the rainbow body all along. This is the key. We are becoming all rainbow. And so when you wake up in the morning, I say, do something to get yourself up here. And how you get there, it doesn't matter. I really don't think it matters. You know, I was listening to someone, a beautiful book, who, and this is maybe silly, but his highest state of meditation was drinking 1 glass of brandy and smoking a cigar. I don't recommend it, but if that's how someone gets into the highest state of consciousness, why not? You know, don't want to be like, so whatever it is for you, you know, go as high as you can, get yourself into the bliss. Now, we will be doing this the whole lunar cycle every day whenever I can, 11 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific, and I will send emails about it. And so we will use all that we have that I know works to go into this bliss. After all, being in the rainbow state of being is pure bliss. And it does require internal monologue that is filled with love. And that is filled with love, and also, as we have said, the underlying oneness of all life. And so I'm just going to put it here, and that would be it for today. So I think this is a big revelation that we received as humanity, of course. And so huge, life-changing. I'm going to say, see your fellow as thyself. Love your fellow as yourself. We are all one self, all one being. And the more loving we become, the kinder and nicer, the more unshakable, the Chinese master kind of pose, bowing to all life. You know the truth within you, and that's all it takes. And so let's see how we can shake up the world into more oneness. And I mean shaking in terms of like dancing happily. Wonderful. So this is today. I will repeat very similar kind of storytelling at 5 p.m. because we usually have people from Australia who join us as well. And so thank you so much for participating in this transmission. I can tell by my own temperature, this was a very powerful activation. And so I'll be anchoring this into Mother Earth so that she can receive some of this as well. So thank you and so much love.